Adoatv, bringing good things to life.
Hello there, good morning, and you're welcome to the AM News here on Adoatv Television. The news is coming to you live from our studios here at the John Evans 50th Mills High Street in Accra. Remember, we are also streaming live on Facebook at Adoatv Ghana and on YouTube at Adoatv GH. Now, let's look at top stories making headlines this morning. The Ghana Federation for Disability unhappy with police for stopping intended march. Also with election petition, Supreme Court strikes out Mahama's application for review and stay in proceedings. In business today, domestic tax revenue hits 31 billion Ghana cedis in first month of COVID-19 era. And then interestingly in sport, Hearts blame Costa Papic for the woes of the club. This and many more coming up in this bulletin. Remember, we're also streaming live on Facebook at Adoatv Ghana. My name is Jonathan Amma. Now, let's look at stories making up the first interesting way. The Supreme Court has dismissed a review application by former President John Dramani Mahama challenging the court's decision not to compel the chairperson of the Electoral Commission (EC), Mrs. Jane Adoatv Mensah. In the ruling yesterday, a 9-member review panel of the court held that lawyers for Mr. Mahama failed to meet the criteria for review as stipulated by law. According to the court, the petitioner did not raise any new points, neither did he provide any exceptional circumstance for which the court should review its ruling on February 11.
Counsel for the petitioner, Mr. Chachuchi Kata, had argued that the court should review its decision because Mrs. Mensah had made statements in her affidavit that she will testify. He argued that the court did not make reference to Section 26 of the Evidence Act, which made it a must for Mrs. Jane Mensah to testify based on the representations she made. Counsel also submitted that his client wanted Mrs. Jane Mensah to testify not because they wanted the court to compel the EC to adduce evidence, but because Mrs. Jane Mensah had made representations in affidavits to testify. Also, counsel argued that Mrs. Jane Mensah, as a chairperson of the EC, must testify in the interest of justice due to the fact that she declared the 2020 presidential election results. Lawyers for the first and second respondents opposed the review application. Mr. Justin Amenuvo, lawyer for the EC, argued that the review did not meet the criteria as it did not raise any new issue. Lawyer for President Akufo-Addo, Mr. Koto Ampao, described the review application as unmeritorious. He said the petitioner was using the review as a backdoor attempt to re-argue his case for the EC chairperson to testify. However, the Supreme Court has dismissed the review application against an earlier ruling of the court that witnesses cannot be compelled to testify in the case filed by lawyers of the petitioner in the election petition hearing. The Chief Justice in the ruling on Thursday, February 18th, said,
occasion in the storage of justice. In this application, any counsel for the applicant has taken it through various aspects of the ruling without demonstrating to the court areas in this ruling has occasioned the storage of justice. To succeed on the first leg under this rule, the alleged error must not only be established by the applicant, must also demonstrate that a miscarriage of justice has been occasioned by the ruling. In further submissions, counsel for the applicant referred to Section 26 of the Evidence Act NRCD 323. In his view, the provisions operate as a statutory estoppel against the decision of the chairperson of the first respondent not to testify. Counsel submitted that this court in the ruling and the review failed to consider. We have considered the submission on the effect of Section 26 of NRCD 323 We are not persuaded that the issue of certificate is pronounced by the applicant council by reason of not specifically referred to in the ruling under review renders the ruling per incuriam. We have also taken into consideration the applicant's reliance on Article 19, Clause 13, and Clause 296 of the 1992 Constitution. Yes. We are of the view that the applicant has failed to satisfy the court that new or important matter resulted from the reference to the constitutional provisions referred to. In the result, the application fails and it is hereby dismissed.
Court proceedings has then been adjourned to Monday, the 22nd day of February 2021 for review of dismissed case of petitioner to reopen his case and file a subpoena on Jane Mensah.
Away from the Supreme Court of Judicature and the election-related issues, let's treat the Ghana Federation for the Disability has described the restraining order secured by the Greater Accra Regional Police Command from the Accra High Circuit Court to prohibit its members from embarking on a peaceful march as an unfortunate incident. The GFD had scheduled a march to present a petition to the Ministry for Social, Children and Gender Protection and the National Council on Persons with Disabilities on the delay in the review of the Disability Act 715 by government.
The police, in a statement on Wednesday, said it had secured a court injunction to stop the Ghana Federation for Disability from embarking on the activity. The statement, issued by the Regional Public Affairs Unit of the Ghana Police, signed by Chief Inspector Bright Kwabena Danso of the Public Affairs Unit, said the prohibition order follows an affidavit filed by the police upon receipt of notification from the Executive Director of GFD, Rita Kusitreman, on the intended demonstration. The chairman of the National Advocacy Committee of the Ghana Federation of Disability, Alexander Banklo Williams, said the move by the police is anti-human and shameful. He said the Federation will find alternative means to present their petition to the respective institutions. We will do our best to present our petition without violating the ex parte injunction that the police has placed on our demonstration. We feel that the Ghana Police Service must be ashamed of itself for what they have tried to do, because persons with disability have been marginalized for a very long time in this country. All we have done was to notify the police to have a peaceful march containing not more than 25 people and adhering to the social distancing to present our petition. It shows how anti-human the Ghana Police Service is and how barbaric they can get.
Away from that, let's do some business at this hour on the AM News. The emergence of coronavirus has impacted every productive sector of the economy, with data showing that revenue generated from domestic or non-oil taxes from January to October 2019 performed better than in the same period the previous year when there was no pandemic. The report shows that domestic tax revenue, which includes revenue generated from customs, direct taxes, IRS, and indirect taxes, VAT, the value added tax, recorded more than 31.3 billion Ghana cedis in October 2020, compared to the 29.3 billion Ghana cedis recorded in the same period last year, representing a 6.6% point increase. The analysis, with the exception of the value added tax and the other two domestic tax revenue generation activities, customs and direct tax, saw increases in their value during the second quarter when restrictions on movement of persons and closure of some businesses were partially lifted.
The report indicated that customs receipts recorded 2.6 billion cedis in the second quarter of 2020 as compared to the 1.7 billion in the first quarter. Direct taxes also recorded 4.4 billion in the second quarter as compared to 3.7 billion Ghana cedis in the previous quarter. However, that could not be said of indirect taxes, VAT, as revenue declined to 1.9 billion Ghana cedis from the 2.1 billion Ghana cedis recorded in the first quarter. In the third quarter, VAT receipts bounced back to 2.2 billion due to the increase of economic activities in the country following the lifting of all restrictions. However, direct tax revenue saw a marginal decline in the third quarter, recording 4.3 billion. With regards to receipts from customs, they recorded increments in revenue for all 3 quarters under discussion. This takes domestic tax revenue generated from all 3 sectors to 27.1 billion Ghana cedis as of third quarter 2020, with the October 2020 figure taking the total of 31.3 billion Ghana cedis for the first 10 months of the pandemic this year. Government in the mid-year budget revised total non-oil tax revenue to 40.7 billion Ghana cedis, representing 10.6% of GDP, which is 4.3 billion Ghana cedis lower than the pre-pandemic budget target of 45 billion Ghana cedis. The revision, according to the budget, was on account of a significant shortfall in import duties as well as shortfalls in both the domestic direct and indirect taxes. Total revenue and grants have also been revised to 53.7 billion Ghana cedis, representing 13.9% of GDP in 2020, representing a 20% decrease over the original 2020 budget target of 67.1 billion Ghana cedis. All these point to the impact the pandemic had on economic activities during the first wave, which subsequently sent the country into its first recession in nearly 4 decades.
There is more to that news on adwanewsonline.com. Now let's do some sports. Accra Hearts of Oak have responded to the club's former coach Kostadin Papic for allegedly masterminding a crisis that had led to a division among the playing body of the club. Addressing the press in Accra, board member Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo said, contrary to the Serbian coach's claim that he was sacked, the Serbian coach willingly quit the job after only 2 months in charge, despite persuasions from the club's board chairman Togbe Afede XIV to resign his decision. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo also refuted claims that the coach faced interference, describing such claims as a figment of the coach's imagination, and dared him to come out and prove where and how his job was interfered with.
We have found it important that we issue this statement to the public on the state of affairs of the club, arising out of the resignation of the head coach, Kostadin Papic. We wish to confirm that Papic was not sacked, but resigned on his own accord, despite pleadings from the board, especially the board chairman, who has had a very cordial relationship with him since he has been here. His reasons, as stated in his resignation letter, were personal, and also because results have not gone the way he expects, and he does not think things will change for the better. He further indicated to the board that in this position and with his experience in situations such as the one we found ourselves, where the coach was not having the cooperation of the playing body and they feel unhappy, to quote him, it is best here is a change of a coach. These are his own words. At a board meeting, members present, Togbe Afede, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, Honorable Vincent Odote Soa, Justice Ivy Heward Mills, Frank Nelson, Nwokolo, Elvis Hesse, NCC Chairman, Alhaji Akambi, Jonas Jani. The coach stated the following specific reason for his resignation: lack of trust from the players, players' refusal to abide by his instructions, divisions in the playing body, general lack of cooperation from the players, and his inability to turn the situation around. The board subsequently met with the playing body and inquire from them what their opinions were on the situation in the club, especially regarding the poor performance. Their position was as follows: favoritism by the head coach, failing his favorite players even if they were injured, inconsistencies of his instructions, lack of unity in the team, and failure by the head coach to keep a winning team. These were the complaints of the players. The players went on to say that, consequent to the above behavior and conduct of the head coach, they felt nervous playing and were generally not happy. They were further of the opinion that the coach's inconsistency might be arising from his being influenced by social media commentators. It is worthy of note that every player spoke, 25 of them. The players informed the board that he had earlier met with the coach and informed him that the problem in the team was him. I'm quoting what the players said. And that they were not happy with his selection. An inconsistency in the team. As to his response to them, they said he did not say anything. We are therefore by this statement challenging Coach Papich that he comes out with reasons both as stated in his resignation letter and orally to the board as to why he resigned and why the club has slumped since the game with Olympics. This will curtail the speculations in the media. The board has accepted his resignation since, according to him, and I quote, he does not think the players would listen to his instructions, and that we need a new coach to bring about what he described as, in quote, shock therapy. And also considering that the players seem to have lost confidence in him, the board is therefore taking steps to find the replacement head coach and the goalkeeper's trainer.
That was board member of Accra Hearts of Oak, Nyaho Tamaklo there. Let's do some more sports stories. And 2020 SWAG Sports Personality of the Year, Raphael Butsio Nkegbe, has begun preparations towards the 2020-2021 Paralympic Games, which is slated to take place in Tokyo, Japan. The versatile para-athlete is training at the Accra Sports Stadium and explained his early preparations is geared towards engaging his medal drought at the Olympics after 3 missed attempts. Nkegbe's training at the stadium is non-residential and forms part of multiple training to be completed before leaving for Tokyo.
I'm here at the Accra Sports Stadium where para-athlete Raphael Butsio Nkegbe has started his non-residential campaign for the Olympic Games in Japan. He's the first Ghanaian to qualify for the Olympic Games with his personal best of 14.22 seconds in a 100-meter wheelchair race in Arizona. Here, currently, is Raphael Butsio Nkegbe. We are going to engage him about how he has started his preparations and whether he has also received some financial support from the government. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Doing great.
Yeah, I can see you have started a non-residential campaign and for the Olympic Games in Japan. So far, how has preparations been?
So far, the year just started, and as an athlete, it's always a job we choose ourselves to do, and you need to always be ready, even though the pandemic has come and so many things has been put on hold in terms of the Paralympics, the Olympics. But as an athlete and a professional athlete like myself, always need to be ready because Tokyo is coming up this year. So as athletes, what I normally do, start the year with training, making sure I'm ready. That's all we have started so far.
Okay, you have a personal best of 14.22 seconds. Are you looking forward to break that record in the Olympic Games?
The aim for an athlete is being set by you, so it's always a joy to break your PB, and breaking your PB means that you are improving. And if God willing was able to break that PB this year in Tokyo, it means that definitely Ghana is getting a medal, because that time currently is ranked 7 in the world from 2019 up to date. The year just started, some of the IPC events, the qualification has opened for other athletes who could not make it through because of the pandemic throughout the year. So the qualification will be ending around first week in June. So I'm looking forward, even before Tokyo, God willing, get myself in 1 or 2 competitions before Tokyo. I'll be able to break that time, and that has been my target, because my PB is always my target. And if you break your PB, you mean that you are improving.
So can you guarantee? Okay. The games will start in August. Would you like to move to Tokyo ahead of time to acclimatize or to intensify your training before the game starts?
That would be great, because as I'm talking to you, I'm in contact with some of my colleagues from other countries, especially the United States has always been one of that's where all my racing career started from. And I know some of the athletes will be moving to Tokyo 1 month ahead. So that would be good, because looking at with the measure that will be put in place, your athletes need to go and acclimatize, the medical wise. If there's any issue in terms of the COVID, you need to have time to recover this. So in terms of preparation, I will really, really love, and that has something that I've been hearing for all the time, that if you are going to competition, it's always going to be good to go ahead at least 4 weeks, at least 3 weeks, 1 month, to have enough training, because that's where you are going to compete. So I'm looking forward. That should be part of the plan that the National Paralympics Committee might have, or the para-athletics might have. If the nation itself plan that they might put in the store for the athletes who will be going to the Tokyo, from the boxers to all other sports, the able-bodied athletics and the para-athletes, all the measures they might put in place, it should be equally shared for all the athletes.
Okay. Finally, before we let you go, have you received any kind of motivation, being that if you win gold, you are going to get this amount of money, silver or bronze? Have you heard anything of sort?
At the moment, I can say that the International Game Committee haven't come out with any package yet. The National Paralympics Committee haven't come out with any package yet. But I always say that the bigger package I can give myself is to making sure I represent my nation and represent it well. It's always great to do something for those who are looking up to you. That has been my self-motivation. And I always also believe that if you promise to give me $10,000 US in terms of winning gold, I'll prefer you putting $9,000 in my preparation. If I win gold, you give me 1,000. I know that you have invested in me and you have pushed me there to win that medal. But me going through all this hassle and winning medal, and before coming to show appreciation in terms of what you have done, sometimes it's not motivating enough, because your preparation always will determine what you get at the end.
Okay, so
The international front, the Prime Minister of Georgia has resigned over plans to arrest an opposition leader, saying the move could cause political escalation. Georgie Kagaria said a court decision to place Nika Melia in pre-trial detention poses a risk to the health and lives of our citizens. Meanwhile, Mr. Melia has been accused of organizing mass violence during anti-government protest in 2019. He denies the charges but faces a 9-year sentence if convicted.
Earlier this week, a court in the capital, Tbilisi, ordered that the opposition leader should be arrested for failing to pay an increased bail fee. Mr. Melia, who is the leader for the United National Movement, told AFP news agency that The charges were part of ongoing repressions against the opposition. Georgia has been gripped by a political crisis over the results of parliamentary elections in October, with protesters and the opposition accusing the ruling party of rigging the polls and intimidating voters. The case against Mr. Melia dates back to 2019, when thousands of protesters attempted to storm Georgia's parliament after a Russian member of parliament took the speaker's seat and gave a speech in Russian. Riot police prevented them from entering the building, but hundreds of people were injured. The incident reignited anger over Moscow's presence in Georgia almost a decade after a war over the breakaway region of South Ossetia.
Now with lifestyle at this hour on the AM News, the acting president of the Musician Union of Ghana, Musiga, Mr. Bessa Simon, has stated that the union must cater for aged musicians who are members of the union. He disclosed this in an interview with Adoatv's reporter Tina Love. He said during the outbreak of COVID-19 in 2020, the union solicited for fund and help from active musicians to assist the aged.
According to Mr. Bisa Simon, the Music Union of Ghana embark on yearly projects to support the union members, but due to the pandemic, they are calling on musicians and the general public to support the aged musicians who have retired from music. Some artists like Stoneboy Sue and others have gladly donated to the union to assist the aged. These came in both cash and kind, have been distributed to aged musicians across the country. He said all the 16 regions in the country received items donated to retired musicians. However, he said the union will decide on their projects for 2021 soon.
Well, Musiga did a project. It's not the minister. Musiga did a project because nothing was going, nothing was coming. And every year we used to raise funds for the aged musicians. But we couldn't do that fundraising because of the COVID-19, because everybody was busy somewhere, everybody was fighting, the helper needs help. So it became very, very difficult. So we put it upon ourselves to go around and see if we can get anything at all, the foodstuffs, monies and things, and then we give it to them. We got something, not very big. Even some musicians, such as Sue, Stoneboy, you know, they all donated something. And then the minister also donated something. So we gathered all this together. And as you know, Musiga will look after all the regions. So whatever we had, according to our membership, agent membership, we sent it to the regions for them to be given to the aged musician. That is not going on. We finished with that project. So we don't know, maybe this year, the way things are going, we might have to start again, you know, and then, because we always have to look after the aged first, because they are very vulnerable. Most of them are not well. Most of them are not even working anymore. But so that any little thing that we get that will sustain them will go a long way. So we will discuss it with the Executive Council, and we'll see if it's a good idea. We will open that channel again.
That's how we end the AM News here on Adwa Television. For more news, you can log on to www.adwanewsonline.com. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Have a good morning.